The question for the vlog this week is, what are we going to do to get women back into work and undo all of the economic damage that has been done to them by COVID? The data is horrendous. Women are more likely to have been laid off, furloughed, more likely to have lost working hours, more likely to work in sectors that have been worst hit by the pandemic, more likely to have lost freelance work, less likely to have been compensated by the government if they've taken any maternity leave, and they've also shouldered domestic duties, cleaning, childcare, homeschooling, and all of the rest of it. And that's even more the case when we look at BAME and economically vulnerable women who are more likely to have been hit hardest. Young women have also particularly suffered. So what I wanted to do is to understand what we're going to have to do to support those women and get them back into the workplace so that this 50% of our population is properly represented in business, in government, at every single level. If we don't do that, then what we're going to see is poverty among women, poverty among mothers, poverty for their children, and long-term implications in terms of pensions, but also all of the decision making and how it affects organisation. If a business has lost 25% of its female pipeline, those women leaders that we needed to change the culture and change the policies and move away from crazy 100-hour working week cultures, they're just not going to get there. So this is really, really important. And I went to talk to Lisa Unwin about it. Lisa's been working for years getting women who have taken career breaks back into law. So she's been thinking about what it takes to get women back into work when they've stepped out or been pushed out. Let's see what Lisa has to say.
The first thing you've got to do is ask yourself why they left. Because it may well be that people were teetering on the edge before the pandemic, trying to juggle holding down a career, having a family, having both sets of responsibilities and feeling the pressure to be on all the time, and that this just take them over the edge. You need to spend some time understanding that, because if you don't understand that and you don't change the way you work, you might get them back, but you're going to lose them again. The ultimate person hiring the woman to come back recognise that she's bringing something valuable back. They're not doing it to tick a box. They're not doing it to set a target. They're not doing it because some D&I person's told them they have to. They think, wow, this is a really talented woman and I'd love to have her on my team. Assuming you do genuinely want them back, and you want them back because they represent half of your customer base, for example, you genuinely think you're missing something without them, that's going to be a big start. You've got to find ways of finding them. The women we're talking about are not going to be signed up to your regular recruiters, because your regular recruiters have spent 20 years telling them they don't want them. So there are different channels, and not just my own, but other ways of finding the women that you're looking for. At an organisational level, it's really hard to start measuring output. But if you're a leader and you've got 5 people on your team, you should know what you expect each of them to contribute, and you should be able to see that. And that's poor leadership if you can't.
And what do you say to people who push back and say, look, people have stepped out, they're clearly not that into their careers, that's fine, why can't we just work with who we've got?
I'd just push back and say, turn it on its head. If you've got someone coming back, typically they're very motivated, they've really thought about it. They're going to be someone who's going to give you another 10 years, potentially the best 10 years of their lives, because they're bringing back all of this experience. Or you can go down the road and hire somebody from a competitor who's probably only joining you because they want a pay rise. And they're not going to come with lots of fresh ideas and enthusiasm. So I'd go for the woman coming back after a career break anytime.
What's brilliant about listening to Lisa is that you get the complexity of the problem that we're facing and the number of actors that are going to have to do something to change this. Whether it's government providing childcare, skills and development, sharing the data, the pause on gender pay gap reporting is really troubling. Whether it's businesses knowing their own data, knowing what was going on before this all started, how were women doing even before this happened, looking at their strategy, making sure that they have one, making sure they're providing skills and development and appropriate working conditions. Looking at our recruitment policies, how are we describing jobs, how are they organised, how are we evaluating people? You know, is it just on hours, or are we really seriously sure that we can have team leaders who are well enough trained to think about outputs? And women themselves, whose confidence has been knocked. I spoke to someone this morning who says she dreams of her old place of work, and when she takes people on tours of it, she can't open doors in her dreams, or somebody tells her she's not supposed to be there anymore. That diminishment that comes after years of invested time in an organisation that now you're no longer a part of. And there'll be skills pieces, of course, to that, and other kinds of support back to childcare and what government needs to do. I know I've missed stuff, tell me what it is, because my really big concern about all of this is intention. How do we build the intention to really make this matter with people who perhaps don't fundamentally get it? Because perhaps the women in their life are doing the homeschooling, perhaps are full-time caregivers, and perhaps that's reinforcing some gender stereotypes that aren't helping the case. Now, changing the subject, I've had some questions about television recommendations, and I think the first place to start is an apology, because when I recommended Married at First Sight Australia, and many of you took the advice, you fools, I didn't quite realise that it was 30 solid hours of television, and basically it's crack cocaine. So apologies to everyone whose life has been absorbed for the last 2 weeks in Married at First Sight, but you know, text me, tweet me, we can talk about it. I do have a fantastic book recommendation though, which is The Panic Years by Nell Frizzell. This woman writes like a dream. It's like talking to a friend. She describes things that are so visceral and so tangible and beautiful, and you just connect with them and you understand exactly what she's talking about. Buy it. Read it when you can, 5 minutes here and there. I know it's crazy. 8th of March, fingers crossed. Next week, we're going to be talking about Jackie Weaver, dear old Jackie Weaver.
You have no authority here, Jackie Weaver. No authority.
I take charge.
And what she shows us about Zoom. See you then.
Read the standing orders. Read them and understand them.